The Czech Republic is brought to you by Chevrolet. Find new roads.
Sergei Bobrovsky is in net for Russia, the 2013 Vezina Trophy winner. And Jack Campbell, bit of a surprise start we talked about, Rod. In for Team USA. He has won 5 medals, 2 at the U18s. I should say 4 medals, played 3 World Junior tournaments.
Surprising because he hasn't played yet. Didn't play in one of the first 2 games.
I like this matchup. Edmund Masalskis, a veteran, 35-year-old. He has been 4 times in this tournament. He has been a player of the team, which is nominated at the end of the tournament. 3 of those. He has done that 4 times for Latvia. Jonas Enroth from the Dallas Stars is in for Sweden.
Good matchups this morning. Enjoy them. Off to the World Championships, to Prague and Ostrava. Best bet, picture in picture.
Good afternoon and welcome to Prague and day 4 of the World Hockey Championship.
The Swedes have an excellent mobile defense. Filip Forsberg had a fabulous game against Austria. He gets his first shift of the afternoon. A couple of just gorgeous goals. One an individual effort, one a breakaway. But a real question for me watching them play is their goaltending. Jonas Enroth gave up 4 in the 3rd period against the Czechs. A couple of them up over top. Good shots, but shots that he probably should stop. And he's really going to have to carry the mail for them in this tournament.
He was the top goaltender in 2013 when the Swedes won the gold medal. Played for Buffalo and Dallas in the NHL this year. And of course, in Buffalo, got very little goal support. In fact, the worst goal support in the league at the time he was traded. In comes Forsberg with a chance, and that's tipped just wide. Masalskis got the tip of his glove on that. And you Skorskis was offside. There's a new player now for Latvia playing tonight, Ekman-Larsson. He's out of their lineup.
So here comes Forsberg off the sideboards into the middle of the ice.
For Latvia, that play is called a hand pass. Ekman-Larsson led Dynamo Riga in the KHL in goal scoring this year with 16. He was injured in a pre-tournament game. This is going against Sweden.
It'll be against Forsberg.
And so the extra skaters on the ice for Latvia. And now Dogovic picked. Bouncing puck in front, and finally the Swedes touch it up, and with just over 5 gone in the opening period, Latvia will get the game's first power play.
Just watching here, Forsberg has not volunteered himself to the penalty box. It's an interference call. As we look at the chance to Oscar Moeller earlier on that Masalskis is able to poke away. There's the hard work by Redleach earlier, and Enroth has made a couple of nifty stops with the blocker stop, and they finally got Forsberg lassoed and taken to the penalty box, and that would be a penalty probably not called in North America. The play was moved by Spruce out to the wing, and Forsberg finished right away on him, but It was a second or two after the puck was delivered and the interference call was made.
Face-off one back to the point. Maxim Sirikov drops it back to Galvin. Now, centering pass by Darzin's broken up, and the Swedes send it down. Swedes have allowed a couple of power play goals in the tournament so far. They're 2 for 9 on the penalty kill. Yeah,
both of them against the Czechs. That'll be a real point of emphasis tonight for Team Canada to stay out of the box against a dangerous power play.
Now Zarinch lost it to Jakob Josefsson, and Josefsson slides it back. To Rask. Plays it all the way back. And he gets the return pass from Jonas Analog. Guntis Galvin swings it across to Darzic. Loris Darzic drops it back to Sprooks. That pass misfires. Just over a minute to go in this power play that has not generated a lot so far for the Latvians. Latvia national team had it knocked away, and back goes Oskar Sabauskas for it.
The Latvians are going to have to, on the power play, attack with the puck and get it deeper in the zone. 3 times they've tried.
Latvia and Sweden later on today. Canada against the host Czech Republic. These fans just warming up for that. Now the drop pass goes to Bukarts. Roberts Bukarts. As the penalty expires and Forsberg steps back on the ice. Ekholm rings it around.
Forsberg's had a penalty each of the last 2 games. He had the hat trick yesterday against Austria. And there's Mik Zindrasis, who was the player Gordon was talking about earlier on, just added to the team today. They were hopeful that he would be able to play and hasn't had to bang around the boards at all yet with a shoulder injury. That's really where the test is going to be.
Played in the Olympics in 2014 for Latvia, playing in his 4th World Championship. Also played in the World Junior in 2010 in Saskatoon for the Latvians. Long shot there taken by John Klingberg. That deflected just wide. Now Forsberg back on it. Looks down to Louis Eriksson. Eriksson slides it back to Klingberg. John Klingberg, long shot. That was blocked in front by Sutniks. And now Kristaps Sutniks got his pocket picked by Anton Lander. The income. Shot, and Latvia needs a change here. This line's been stuck on the ice for a while. Forsberg had to leave the zone, and the change begins for Latvia as Forsberg spun it back. Ekman-Larsson fires it down to the Latvian zone. Masalska's out to play it.
He's not shy about playing it. I don't know how good he is when he gets it on his stick, but he'll get out to play it. Sometimes that's just as dangerous.
Maybe he should be a little more shy, is what you're saying?
Perhaps.
Solienis works in, shoots, that deflects wide at the stick of Ekman-Larsson. Indrassis back with it. He finds Rodrigo Abols. Now Indrassis. Back in behind the goal, Abols looking for it. Abols, a 19-year-old. Plays mostly in the Russian Junior League. Now the lead pass goes ahead. It comes Eriksson, a shot. And the save is made by Masalskas. No score here in the first period in Prague. Day 4 of the World Championship in Prague and Ostrava. Ostrava a couple hours east of here. Russia playing the United States at this moment. Trevor Lewis has an early goal there to make it 1-0 in favor of the Americans. who didn't get a lot of help from the NHL. A number of their top players declined the invitation to play here, but
very young team, very fast. Talked to a pro scout today who's watched them a couple of times, and they're very, very quick.
In comes Klingberg, a long shot. Masalska's the same, and the rebound squirted away from him. Drops it off. Spruks with a shot. That deflects wide. As the Latvians are changing, Forsberg picks it up. Philip Forsberg swings that rink wide for Louis Eriksson. Eriksson drops it back for Klefbom. Klefbom lost it. And Redless is almost off to the races for Latvia. We're past the midway point of the first period. Still no score. Victor Raskford, he got tangled up in the corner. Eriksson on it, got bumped there by Roberts Bucharts. And now Klefbom has Redless all over him, and Redless wins the battle for the puck. Ekman-Larsson gets tied up. Spruks all over him. Trying to pull it back in front. Rask knocked that away.
Two puck battles that the Latvians win with superior effort on that play. The shots are 7-5, although the Latvians are now about 7 minutes plus without a shot here. The Swedes off to a little bit of a slow start, but this has been a good 12 minutes.
Well, in shoots, it goes off the stick of Sutniks and wide. Elias Lindholm gets knocked down. And the battle ensues in the corner as Guntis Galvic picks it up. Galvic plays in Bolzano, Italy, but in the Austrian League. That's where the Bolzano team plays now. A bump back. And Hjalmarsson played it ahead for Lindstrom. Lindstrom chips it in. And here's Galvic with it. Galvic slides it down to the Swedish zone. And icing call goes against Latvia. 7:16 to go in the period.
Galvic is one of those players that bounces around a little bit throughout his career. He's been in Europe the entire time and has played in the Czech Republic, Hungary, KHL, Austria. Lug your bag around and find a place to play. There's various leagues to play in, and you keep looking for the one that becomes home.
A throaty cheer goes up here as they announce the USA-Russia score, with the U.S. ahead 1-0. Czechs still don't love the Russians.
No, that's pretty clear.
That's not going to change anytime soon either, for any number of reasons.
It will be loud in here tonight. Everybody anticipating the power play, the building erupted. And I mean, there's no way we've seen more jerseys than the Yager jerseys around this stadium. There's Edgar Masalskis this afternoon. He came into the game giving up 5 goals on 59 shots, and he stopped all 8 that he's faced here in the first period. Been a couple of rebounds, but he's a bad.
And Masalskis.
That almost ended up in the net. Remember a play a couple of years ago where Dan Hamhuis and Roberto Luongo got all tied up, and Luongo ended up backing into the net with the puck. That's pretty close to the same thing.
Analov lives in the corner with it. It's tied up by Dogovic. Aspar's Dogovic. Drops it back. Shot by Garbage is blocked. Now Sobolskis to drive. That bounced off a leg and wide. Sirakov's on it. It's played around by Analov. And Rahimi drops it back for him. The lead. To go in the first period. If the Latvian fans have stopped chanting during the game, we have not noticed it yet.
There is a lot of Latvian jerseys here.
Yes. And now a penalty coming to Latvia as Sotniks took down Forsberg. And the extra skater coming on the ice now for the Swedes. Laid back at the point for Louis Aronson. To drop it across it. Goal gives Sweden a 1-0 lead.
It's a terrible break for Latvia. They had two of their better forwards on the 2-on-1. His team has done a terrific job for 17 and a half minutes. They get a short-handed 2-on-1, and then moments later, a puck off their own defenseman's foot is into the net. And the Swedes have their third power play goal of the tournament.
In comes Elias Lindholm, centers it there for Victor Rask. The two Carolina Hurricanes going to work. Oscar Clefbaum lost the puck, but Kellis Redless works into the corner. Redless going to spin that back in front. Clefbaum slides it into Hjalmarsson. Simon Hjalmarsson across for Ekholm in, and Mattias Ekholm had that shot blocked, and it dribbles down to Masalska. Look out now, we got sticks and gloves up. Lindholm's in there, along with Kellis Redless, and there is very little tolerance for this stuff in the IIHF, and now the referee's arm goes up. There's going to be at least one penalty here. Maybe more. But
the arm didn't go up until about halfway through this battle. It looks like Lindholm. Minutes left in the period, but the Latvian penalty is the only one on the board.
Nothing posted yet. Just a penalty now to Redless, but nothing for misconduct or anything else. So,
the Swedes have to love that. Out of the pack, they get a power play here.
Redless gets holding. And Sprooks wins the face-off, but the Swedes maintain possession. Kronwall feeds across to Ekholm. Mattias Ekholm looks down to Lander. Anton Lander in, shoots. Masalska kicks that away. And Eriksson feeds it back to Lander. To Ekholm. Mattias Ekholm. Lander. Forsberg shoots off the outside of the post. He nailed that shot. Eriksson back with it. At the point is Ekholm. For Forsberg. Forsberg across Kronwall, swings it there, looking backdoor for Lander. The pass too far for him. Ekholm. Cross he goes to Lander. His pass off a stick and wide. And racing to it is Guntis Galvich, who fires it down the ice. Under a minute to go in the opening period. 1:10 to go in the Swedish power play.
It's really a pretty critical time of the game here. If the Swedes can get another one on the power play, the Latvians are goal-starved. 2 goals is going to be a lot for them to get back to.
Klingberg comes in. Spins around Dogovic. The puck loose behind the Latvian goal. Still there. Jimmy Eriksson picks it out. And now John Klingberg has it. Back to Ekman-Larsson. To Lindstrom. Ekman 0 Sweden leads after the opening 20 minutes. That shot fired wide by Forsberg. Here comes Dogovic again, along with Zaric. Dogovic tries to wind his way in. He was poke checked there by Klingberg, who looks ahead for Forsberg. Forsberg, from a sharp angle, shoots. And Masalskis made the stop. The puck bounced into the corner, but off the meshing, and play is called.
In the first period, Zaric had a 2-on-1 with Zarnic, and they missed shorthanded. Here at the tail end of the power play, Dogovic's pass is just a little bit behind him, and perhaps an inch or two in the air that Darzinch isn't able to corral. He would have been nose to nose with Jonas Enroth.
Galvin led that around, chipped up by Sprooks. He finds Bukart, who centers it. Redless had a chance in front again. It bounced away. Christianis Redless pokes it ahead. The Latvians have not been without chances in this game as Christianis Redless tried to find his brother Michelis. And now Michelis holds the puck at the line. And he comes, winds, and shoots it at his brother in the leg and knocked him down. Christianis Redless can't get back up after his brother's shot hit him in the back of the leg.
His brother is tending to him on the ice. That one hurt. You see Michelis Redlich walk into the slot. Oh, this gets him on the inside of the knee. And Christianis is lying on the ice. He's going to try and get up here, and he plays a lot for Coach Bellaveskis. He's an important player for them. And you see 7 minutes in the first period on the ice. Michelis Redlich wants to shoot this through the traffic. Klingberg and his brother Christianis get tied up in front of the net, and that's the result.
So the brothers Redless will have something to talk about tonight.
I get the feeling that probably happened somewhere along the line.
Maybe not the first time. At what point do you stop apologizing? Because that face-off wasn't done correctly?
Well, probably when you're 10, and then now you're concerned again.
So you're back? So
you go back,
goes all the way around? Yeah.
I got 3 brothers. They were just in the way. They thought I was in the way, and they shoved you to the side and continued on. And now they ask if you're all right.
Well, that's not. Anilov fires it down the Latvian zone. Hate to be the last dinner bet at that table.
Not much waiting around there, I'll tell you. 4 boys and my dad. And Mom was dealing with a lot of traffic cop issues, I'll tell you that.
Armand Berzic looks ahead to Mix Indrasas. Indrasas not much of an impact in the opening period, right? Did you think? Or?
No, not much at all. And they're hoping that he'll get involved around the front of the net, use his size, and as you mentioned early in the game, 16 goals this year. They could use his punch.
Anilov up along the boards for Elias Lindholm. He pokes it back out to center ice. U.S. playing at this hour against Russia in Ostrava, up 1-0 on a goal by Trevor Lewis.
Jack Campbell, the Dallas Stars prospect, is in goal for the U.S.
There's a sharp angle shot by Yaroslavs, and that's blocked by Enroth and back down to the Latvian zone. Back to touches Galvich, the face-off back in the Swedish zone.
So, you know, Canadian GM Jim Nill will be keeping an eye on how Jack Campbell is playing a couple hours away from here. There's Parmarts. He's been a long-time coach, a very popular coach with the Swedes. A couple of years ago won the World Championship.
Silver medalist in Sochi, and to this day, really disturbed by the events of the day of the gold medal game when Nick Backstrom was pulled out in the last minute.
That was just wrong. That was a total miscue. Now, it might not have changed anything, but it sure as heck didn't help anything that the Swedes were doing. It was poorly handled.
As Mark said later, their entire team was in disarray in the hour before the game.
Well, it was so late when the decision came down for Backstrom, and it's not like you're talking about a fourth line player.
Right. The guy who led the league in assists this year in the NHL. Sharp angle shot taken by Abels. That's steered away by Jonas Enroth. And a steal now by Abels. His stick was tied up by Daniel Rahimi. Look out, sticks are up again in the corner. Their little jab.
Rahimi's not doing much to get off the Latvian player who's underneath him. That's Abels. Former Vancouver Canuck second-round draft pick was... sixth-round pick, rather, is Daniel Rahimi. He had the puck stolen and then watch him out-muscle Abels towards the corner, and then when he gets down here, he just sits on him. Not going to let him up. No penalties called.
Rahimi didn't get to Vancouver. He got as far as Manitoba, spent parts of 3 years with the Moose in the American League.
Had a big hit on Jaromir Jagr in the first game, and then he was on the receiving end of some Bangalicious magic from Jagr later on. What a move Jagr put on Rahimi, and was denied by Jonas Enroth.
So Zaric gets tossed out of the face-off circle, and Kaspars Dogovic will take the draw. Dogovic has scored in both of Latvia's games so far. Scored to give the Latvians a 1-0 lead on the Czechs in the first period. And scored their only goal against Canada. Now battle for it in the corner. Joel Lundqvist plays it back to Matthias Ekholm with a shot tipped right on him. Masalskis with a quick save there on the deflection in tight. And more pushing and shoving breaks out as the Swedes have their first shot 3.5 in. And there's Dogovic with the glove up on Matthias Sjogren.
Dogovic is going to get a scolding here from the official.
He got summoned by the official.
Here's the chance. Good shot by Ekholm, and the deflection out of the air by Josefsson. Good stop by Masalskis. And this is 2 whistles in a row that's been pretty chippy. And remember back to the first period, Michaelis Redlich was the only one pulled out of the scrum for the penalty. And can almost be certain that's the message that Dogovic just got.
Pavel Hodek, the referee, pointed to the ice in front of him and said, "Come here and stand here," almost like a parent. So Dogovic took his tug last week and left.
Put your head down, feel shame. Go get the official's word. There's no discussion to be had there. And you have to be careful. We talk about it all the time in international hockey. They'll much more quickly take one guy out of the scrum.
Zaric works in, tries to center that. Now Zaric had it bottled up. The Latvians have had the better of the chances here in the second period. Forsberg.
Oh, he's stick handling left-handed.
What was he doing there?
Well, his stick got turned around and he just played it left-handed.
In come the Latvians now with a 2-on-1. Dogovic in, shoots, and Enroth makes the stop as Zaric was bearing it as well. So Loris Darzic has had his chances here in this game. Turned away again by Enroth, and back comes Forsberg the other way. He's going to play it right-handed this time. Drops it back to Kronwall. He comes leaping in. Stefan Kronwall centers it, and racing back to pick that off is Roberts Bukart. Here they come again. Janis Spooks across the line for Michaelis Redlich, and that pass broken up just enough by Rahimi.
Gord, this is 5 times that the Swedish defense has been burned, overhandling the puck. It's like they have no respect for the danger area on the ice against the Latvians. They're lucky that they're ahead 1-0.
Sirikov's long lead pass for Janis Spruks. Spruks drops it off for Bukart. And now Ekman back to play it. Moeller trying to chip it out. Now the play is called. We got a penalty coming up. It's going to be interference against Oscar Moeller of Sweden. So the Latvians will get a power play here. Almost 5 minutes into the second period.
See Moeller shaking his head. He doesn't quite get the penalty. In the first period, Philip Forsberg was called for interference after he lost the puck and had a little puck battle. There you see that little push on the knees from Oscar Moeller. The Parmarts has a rather bemused look on his face at the penalty call, but as soon as Andrasis had the puck, Moeller just gave him a little push on the knees. That's the interference penalty, and the Latvians will get their second power play. The first one was not dangerous at all.
Maxim Hudinov has scored for Russia 1-1. Score against the United States in Ostrava.
Jack Eichel had an assist on the Trevor Lewis goal, so Eichel playing for the U.S. as Connor McDavid rips apart the Ontario League playoffs.
Sjogren brings it in short-handed for Sweden. Sjogren scored a huge power play goal for the Swedes in that opener against the Czech Republic. Down 5-4 with less than a minute to go in the third period. Sjogren tied it up and Sweden won that game in a shootout. The Czechs only led that game for 2 minutes late in the third period. That was a wild one. A 6-goal third period.
3-1 after 2 for the Swedes, seemingly in control, and then bam, there were goals everywhere. Most of them Czech goals.
Dogovic knocked down by Anilov, and Dogovic arguing from his knees there should be a penalty, but none coming.
The Latvians might want to think twice about this power play. Both times they've had it, they've actually lost momentum of the game. They were playing well before they had their first power play, doing a similar job in the first 5 minutes of this period, and now they've just flattened out.
In comes Michaelis Redlis, drops it back, and Brooks couldn't reach it. By the way, Christianis Redlis is back on the ice now for Latvia after being struck by that shot earlier. He lost the puck, though. Rahimi has it. Game center ice and flips that way up in the air. Over and out.
It's almost like when the Latvians get the power play, they lose all the pace to their game. They fan out to the outside. One guy has the puck. He's looking to throw it across the ice to someone else. Little guys like to see themselves up on the board as much as they can, don't they?
It's been remarkable here how good the crowds have been for the non-Czech game.
And I would guess there's got to be 16,000 here now. There's 17,500 capacity to the building. And
with Jimmy Eriksson with it, knocked away by Bukart.
It's been really impressive how well the tournament's been attended and also how much fun most people have had here.
Christianis Redlis for Bukart, who centers it. Joel Lundqvist gets to it, fires it down in the final seconds of this Latvian power play that doesn't generate a lot. And now Moeller steps out.
It's 2 power plays, no shots for the Latvians.
So you're down 1-0, 7 gone in the second period. The Latvians have been presented with their chances, and now the play is offside at the Latvian line. This is the 2015 World Hockey Championship from Prague.
I have a video.
Under 13 minutes to go in the second period, still to come tonight here in Prague. It'll be Canada against the Czech Republic. There won't be an empty seat, and there won't be many that get used either. Those fans stand most of the time.
Canada better be ready for a good start from the Czechs. They have to stay out of the penalty box. They're an extremely dangerous team with the man advantage. 5 power play goals, and they really move it around well. Of course, Jágr is devastating on the power play. So is Jakub Voracek. He had 10 shots the other night, many of them on the power play.
The United States just scored in a 5-on-3 in Ostrava, so it's 2-1 there for the U.S. By the way, the Russian goal was scored by Anton Belov from Edmonton Oilers. Top Maxim Hudinov. Rassis trying to drop that back, picked off by Louis Eriksson. He's got Forsberg with him, and Lander driving. Lander looks, backhands it wide of the goal, and Lander goes hard into the end boards. He got tangled up there with Kasper Solietis. Galvin had it knocked away. And Forsberg swings that rink wide for Ekman-Larsson. Back to Forsberg. Down the Latvian zone. Shots are 13-7 in favor of the Swedes. But 3-1 Latvia here in the second period. Out to center ice it goes to Solietis. Kasper Solietis. And it knocked away by Rahimi. Now Sportskov's stripped by Rahimi. And the pass by Jimmy Eriksson knocked away. Rodrigo Abols comes streaking in on Ekholm and he falls. He goes into the end boards at the feet of Ekholm. And away comes Jimmy Eriksson with it. Eriksson drops it back to Rahimi. And we've got a penalty call, I believe. It's a 2-minute man on the ice going against Latvia.
Yep, there's the 6.
Yeah.
There's a couple of ways you can tell when a team's got too many men on the ice. One, of course, is when there's guys all over the place. The other is when there's only 4 guys on the ice now as everybody scrambles off. So there's the 5 on the ice. There goes 6. So he's quite a ways from the bench. And
so that's another rule in the IIHF where it's enforced much more strictly than the NHL. In the NHL, if you're within 10, 15 feet of the boards,
they might have nabbed them for that. That's a long way.
That's a long stretch.
And in particular because the benches are so long here. One of the oldest tricks is somebody goes in the offensive door and someone jumps 35 feet ahead from the defensive door and tries to jump the play, and that's what Latvia got burned on.
The late Roger Nielsen used to practice that.
Well, that must have been a fun drill.
Oh, yeah. John Klingberg, a long shot. That's deflected up over the glass.
Okay, let's work on our changes.
Scotty Bowman did it before the 1997 Stanley Cup Final. 45 minutes of practicing line changes. Brett Hull was going out of his mind.
45 seconds.
2002.
47 or 45 seconds is enough to practice your changes. It's not science. You're the centerman, you take the centerman.
I agree. It just seems to trip up the odd club every once in a while. So Bowman wanted to make sure that would not happen. And to my knowledge, they were not called for too many men in the 2002 Stanley Cup Final.
They also had the best team.
They did. Ekman-Larsson.
By a long way.
Yes. Ekman-Larsson having a look. Now Joachim Lindstrom winds it and shoots. That's tipped just wide off the end boards. It goes. Jimmy Eriksson might have got a piece of that. And Edgars Masalskis pounces on it to get a face-off.
Brother of Jonathan Eriksson. Jimmy Eriksson gets to the front of the net. He's a big guy. Playing his 31st World Championship game. You see the screen he's providing right down by the net front. Edgars Masalskis is 5'10". Jimmy Eriksson 6'2", and he's got to try and look around him. And as he looks one way, the puck sails by the other.
Eriksson's a good luck charm for teams. He won consecutive titles in the Swedish League with Skellefteå, then jumped this year to St. Petersburg in the KHL and won a league championship with them. They came back from 3-0 down to win a series in the playoffs. First time it's ever happened in the KHL. Galvin. That pass missed for Zaric. Zaric has had great chances here in this hockey game so far. A couple of bobbled off his stick. Now John Klingberg in. Klingberg waits, tried to shoot. Ekman-Larsson fires, and Masalskis got a piece of that and knocked it wide. Ekman-Larsson never afraid to shoot.
23 goals this year. So mobile. Look at him navigate the middle of the ice. Very few strides to sail through.
Led all NHL defensemen with those 23 goals. And now Ekholm, who can also fly, just ranges back to pick up that loose puck. Lead pass to Louis Eriksson. In comes Eriksson with it. Tried to center it. That was blocked by Spruce. Kronwall on it now. A rolling puck. Staffan Kronwall. In across the top. Plays it back to Forsberg. 25 seconds to go in the power play. Forsberg. Back to Kronwall. Cross to Ekholm. The Latvians are whistling at the Swedes for not shooting. Ekholm shoots. Masalskis save. Rebound. Score! Louis Eriksson on the rebound. He's got 2. And the Swedes lead 2-0.
Maybe the fans should have been quiet. Whistling for not shooting. They shoot and it's in the net. This one a little bit more traditional way to score on the power play. Louis Eriksson's first goal deflected off of Sobolski's foot into the top of the net. Here he's on the net front. Puck movement and control by the Swedes. Masalskis can't handle the rebound, and Eriksson, who's just off to the side of the net, or the side of Masalskis rather, picks up the rebound, shows some pretty nice hands, and beats Masalskis up over the glove side. So in the first half of the game, the Latvians have been in it. They've had plenty of good chances, but have given up 2 power play goals and trailed 2-0.
That's 18 goals in 39 games for Louis Eriksson at the World Hockey Championship. He's playing in his 5th, won a gold medal with the Swedes in 2013. Also a 2-time Olympian for Sweden. Of course, he was the big return that Boston got back in the deal that sent Tyler Seguin to the Dallas Stars.
Riley Smith as well in the deal, and the principal components of it.
So 2-0 Sweden with the lead. 2 goals on 3 shots here in the second period. Or 1 goal rather on 3 shots in the second period. Dogovic with it now, slides it back to Christianis Redlis.
So Eriksson had a couple assists in the 6-1 win over Austria on the Philip Forsberg goals, and a couple of his own this afternoon.
Elias Lindholm looks ahead, but falling on the play for Sweden was Victor Rask. Ekman-Larsson bangs it off the sideboards. Penalty coming up as Rask touches up. And this is going to go against the Swedes. And Elias Lindholm gets his 2nd penalty of the game.
A lot of head shaking going on as guys go to the penalty box. And
that's about as demonstrative as the Swedes get.
I mean, there's the high stick. He hit Spruce right in the face. I'm not really sure why he seems so unbelieving of the call. Yeah, I guess everybody's unbelieving when they go in.
The penalty box and prison full of innocent men.
So now the Latvians actually in the zone off the face-off win here. Their power play's been dreadful the first 2. They can use one here.
Buckarts in the corner with it. Now Buckarts works it around, has a look, centers it for Redlis. That was broken up by Ekholm and sent down the ice by Sjogren.
Buckarts has the puck, 71. He's got his rear end against the left boards. He's literally 50 feet from the net. It's way too far. They've got to squeeze the ice, get in a little tighter.
Now Sprooks with it. He tries to center it. That's steered away by Rahimi, and a chance now for Hjalmarsson breaking away shorthanded with Josefsson. Simon Hjalmarsson, the brother of Chicago's Nicholas Hjalmarsson. Play that around, and Sprooks taps it back. But again, very little being generated by the Latvian power play. Sprooks in across the line for Michaelis Redlis. That skipped away from him. And Anilov on his backhand to the line, but not out. Sobolskis in for Sprooks. Plays it back to Galvich. And Galvin tried to backhand it across. Moeller reaching for it, and Michaelis Redlis had to hustle back and pick up the loose puck.
Gord, I've been impressed in the tournament with Oscar Moeller's penalty killing. He's aggressive. He's got a good stick. He's usually in their first group on the ice.
Dogovic back to Darzic, works in, shoots. He tried to hook that in the short side. That's blocked by Enroth. Zaric into the corner. 20 seconds to go in this power play. Now Darzic loose behind the goal. Zaric in front. Dalvich walks in. Loris Dalvich drops it down. And Darzic gathers it back up. Across it goes. Galvich tries it cross ice and a hard shot. They score! On the rebound, it's tapped home by Loris Darzic, and finally the power play clicks just as the Lindholm penalty was expiring.
So not a power play goal by official standards, but Loris Darzic, who had a short-handed chance in the first period, the recipient of this rebound, good puck movement. Gordon, I was talking about the forward with his rear end against the wall. Look at the difference. The puck comes from Galvich. He's at the top of the circle. It's only got to go 35 feet across the top to Dogovic. Really good shot. Nice stop by Enroth, but Darzic is in front on the inside of the Swedish defenseman Anilov, and he puts it away for his first of the tournament.
So here you go. It's 2-1, another one-goal lead. The Latvians have climbed back in it. And Forsberg comes busting in. Philip Forsberg in. Poke check by Masalskis. Rebound. Oh! Stopped in tight was Lander. A penalty shot coming on a hook against Latvia. And so seconds after, Latvia cut the lead to 1. They're being called for a penalty shot here on the hook by Alexanders Yerofeyevs. So Forsberg will take the penalty shot for the Swedes. We've seen a lot of penalty shots called on this side of the draw. Canada has scored penalty shot goals in its first 2 games.
Masalskis is arguing with the referee here. He wants a water bottle to come back. He thought it was a commercial zone. So now Philip Forsberg's wandering around center. He doesn't look too bothered by any of it. 3 goals yesterday. He's got a terrific shot. And one move he likes is the one that Pavel Datsyuk does so well, where he goes in on his forehand and drags it on his backhand into his feet and then shoots it with his forehand.
In comes Forsberg, scores!
Wow, did he make that look easy.
Forsberg with his 4th of the tournament. And once again, Sweden is up by 2.
Just 10 seconds after Latvia had made it 2-1, Philip Forsberg gets a breakaway, gets hooked, and then easily makes it 3-1. Masalskis backs up into the net, but Forsberg, beautiful hands, wonderful finish. He's got 4 goals on the tournament.
6:57 to go in the second period. What a turn of events, and a penalty shot call that they call a lot more strictly under IIHF standards. That might have been a hooking penalty, Ray, in the NHL, but not likely a penalty shot.
Well, tough one for Latvia, so you can complain about the penalty or penalty shot if you'd like, but you can't give up a breakaway 10 seconds after you make it 2-1. A mistake by Latvia. The Swedes get a breakaway, and 10 seconds later, Philip Forsberg makes it 3-1.
Latvian fans keep the faith, but that was a tough one on the penalty shot. Philip Forsberg with his tournament-leading 4th goal after the hat trick against Austria. He had a hat trick 31 minutes into that game. The modern-day record for goals in one World Championship game is 4. It's been done by 9 players. Taylor Hall and Forsberg both had early hat tricks and a chance to tie it.
Both of them had almost a half a game to get the 4th one, and I guess that's why it's only been done 9 times. It's tough to get the 4th one, apparently. But he made that look easy, didn't he?
Oh.
What a beautiful move and finish by Philip Forsberg.
26 goals for Nashville in the regular season, one off the rookie lead set by Mike Hoffman, but Forsberg, more notably, was the only rookie to lead his team in points this year. He did that for a playoff team in Nashville.
Early in the year, he and Mike Ribeiro and James Neal were among the league's most dominant lines.
Here's Klingberg with it. Elias Lindholm back to Klingberg. John Klingberg drops it back. In comes Victor Rask. Little head fake, in shoots. And Masalskis makes the stop. He'll hang on as Victor Rask does some shake and bake in the offensive zone.
Every once in a while, you get a play on the ice where you've just got too much room, too much time. Victor Rask got this puck about 35 feet in front of Masalskis, and he had all kinds of room to go to his left, go to his right. He chose to go to his left, and Masalskis hung right with him to make the save.
Rask hails from Leksand, Sweden, in the middle of the country. Leksand, right off the draw, there's a penalty against the Swedes as Michaelis Redlis is drawn down, so I think Forsberg's going to get it again. Yeah, Forsberg's going off.
I got to tell you, he's all over the score sheet.
He dominated the score sheet. There's no
He's
question
got
about
more
that.
than a couple of penalties in this tournament. I mean, there's the interference, and Redledge, as soon as he felt the contact, went down. The fourth power play. He's given the word.
Is that first down? Was he indicating?
I'm not sure what it was, but apparently Latvia's on the power play.
Apparently.
Fourth power play for Latvia. They scored at the tail end of their third one.
Just as the penalty was expiring, Christianis Redlis down to Janis Sprooks. Sprooks to Christianis Redlis. Bukarts in the corner to Sprooks. Now Bukarts back with it. Tied up there by Ekholm. Centers it. Michaelis Redlis. His centering pass knocked down by Joel Lundqvist. And now sent down the ice by Matthias Sjögren. Michaelis Redlis drops it off for Janis Sprooks. He's tied up by Louis Eriksson. And now Sabalskas picks it up for Latvia. Sabalskas tries to pitch up. Eriksson knocks it away. A race for it now is shorthanded. Jakob Josefsson was bearing in. And Sabalskas swings back to pick it up for Latvia, but a minute gone already in this power play.
We've seen this movie, haven't we? The power play just has such a difficult time getting set. The Swedes are good at their penalty kill. They're aggressive. You see three of them right around the puck, but Latvia just cannot get settled into the zone.
There's Moeller back out there. That long pass from Analog just missed him for a shorthanded break. And now Jimmy Eriksson comes pitching in. As you mentioned, the younger brother, or the older brother out of Detroit's Jonathan Eriksson. Olympic teammates. As Dogovic sends it rink wide. Darzic gets it back. Darzic for Sirikov. To Galvic. Dogovic with it now. 15 seconds to go on the power play. Darzic to Dogovic. To Galvic. Darzic works in, sends it across, knocked away by Kronwall and played down the ice by Sjögren. Now a steal by Forsberg coming out of the penalty box. And Zaric moves it ahead for Latvia. In comes Darzic for it. And a sharp angle, he centers it. Zaric with a chance, that's turned away, and back comes Forsberg the other way for Sweden. Philip Forsberg winds his way in. Sweden starting a change as Forsberg comes in down low. Feeds it back to Eriksson. Shoots, scores! Louis Eriksson, a hat trick. No goal. We're seeing a crease violation against Sweden, and there will be no goal.
Really nice play by Forsberg, and Louis Eriksson had some quick feet to get to the right of the net. He finished it off. And
that fan's going to want that hat back, apparently. Let's have a look.
So we'll get a look again here as Forsberg rushes up the ice strong behind the net.
That's Lander with one foot.
Now see, that we were talking to an official today, and they mentioned that at times you've got to have a little bit of common sense with the play. He's not in the crease of his own accord. Now that play can't be reviewed, and that really has got to be the next step of this stuff. It has to be.
Right.
And whether it's in international hockey or the NHL, I like the crease rule. I don't like that disallowed goal.
So now you're into the territory the NHL was in 10 years ago when a guy had a toenail in the crease and you were disallowing goals.
But there is such far better technology now to video review the play. If you were able to video review that, I can't imagine anybody that would say Anton Lander went in there by himself.
So still 3-1. So if the Latvians had a tough penalty shot go against them, I guess you could say the Swedes have now had a disallowed goal go the other way. It's not really supposed to work like that, but
it often does.
Draskis plays it ahead to Bukarts. In shoots, and Enroth makes the stop. Check that. That was Berzic working in. Armand Berzic.
Well, confusion in the middle of the ice defensively by the Swedes. Look at Klingberg. He wandered across the ice. I'm not sure where he was going. His lane is the outside right, but he turned to his left. And that left some open room for Berzic to walk in. A draft choice of the Minnesota Wild back in 2002 had a terrific chance. And Jonas Enroth, who's played pretty well today, made some good stops, turns aside.
Rodrigo Apple, just 19 years old in the face-off circle, and looking.
He looked about 18, didn't he?
Or less.
And Latvia doesn't have a lot of young players. Gord, you mentioned their core of players that have been together a while. We don't have a lot of youth on this team. Just 4 players under the age of 24. Now 5 with Andrasis added to the lineup.
Byruns comes in now for Latvia. 2:45 to go in the second period. Abols with it. Got up there by Analov. Abols centers it. Skortskov picks it up now for Latvia. Ekman-Larsson steps into him. Byruns with it. Good zone time for Latvia. Not generating a lot right now. Skortskov. Loose in behind the goal. Steps away from Ekman-Larsson. Sutniks. Down to Skortskov. Abols to Skortskovs. And finally, Elias Lindholm picks it up for Sweden. And the first shift we've seen for Nicholas Danielsson, number 44, stepped on the ice. I don't think we've seen him yet, have we? Just added to the Swedish lineup this morning.
Oh, that's a long time to sit there. The first 38 minutes plus the intermission to get your first shift.
And Byron's had that happen to him in Latvia's last game. He had 13 seconds of ice time. Joachim Lindstrom swings it back across for Ekholm. Takes it off the sideboards. Moeller was dumped. 1:40 to go in the second period. Ekholm reaching for it. It gets by him and back out to center ice. Yerofeyevs digging for it in the corner. Centered by Jimmy Eriksson. Back at the point. Klingberg was shot. That's tipped wide by Lindstrom. Joachim Lindstrom. Back he goes to Kronwall to Klingberg. That pass out of the reach of Lindstrom. Eriksson back on it. Lindstrom to Kronwall. Back to Joachim Lindstrom. Centers it for Lundqvist. His shot was blocked by Yerofeyevs. And Sutniks goes rink wide. Bluecards pokes it ahead. In comes Roberts. Bluecards and teammates are changing. He gets punched there by Klingberg. Inside a minute to go in the second period. Sweden with a 3-1 lead. A little bobble there in front. And Lindstrom pokes it to the line, but not out. Christianis Redlis kept it alive. Zarins plays it in. Now a race for it. Christianis Redlis jumps on it. That's down to Dogovic. His centering pass goes all the way back down the ice. Lead feet to Zarin. Down he goes for Dogovic. He falls. Eriksson looks ahead to Forsberg. 20 seconds to go in the period. They're jousting in front of the Swedish bench. Analov with it. Shoots, tip, score! And that's Louis Eriksson with the deflection. That'll be 4 for Louis Eriksson. Oh no, they wiped off the 1 goal. That's right, 3 for Eriksson. Tonight you throw a hat on the ice. And someone just did. So Eriksson has scored 4 times. 3 have counted. And there's the hat trick. About 5 minutes later.
What a shot by Analov here. He's got his head up, and he finds Louis Eriksson, who picked up the loose puck and then goes to the front of the net. Analov's shot tipped just inside the Latvian defender. Eriksson passes it across. Analov's point shot tipped beautifully by Louis Eriksson, and it's 4-1.
So a couple of hats are picked up off the ice and taken to the Swedish bench. I'm not sure what they're supposed to do with them, but
check them out. They're good.
When they won the gold medal in Stockholm a couple of years ago, a Swedish sponsor had all the players wear gold helmets in the post-game celebration. Louis Eriksson with the hat trick after 2 periods of play, and Sweden with a 4-1 lead after 40 minutes here at the 2015 World Championship.
Surprise.
Sweden with a 4-1 lead after 40 minutes of play here at day 4 of the World Hockey Championship. Latvia knew it would get up to a tough start in this tournament when you draw Canada, the Czechs, and the Swedes to start.
Yeah, but they had it at 2-1.
Yeah.
You know, they were up 2-1 on the Czechs. They had it to 2-1 here, and then 10 seconds after scoring what is now classified as a power play goal by Darnage, they give up a breakaway and subsequent penalty shot, and now they're 3 down, and that's a long way to go for a team that doesn't score very much.
Swedes did get that wild third period against the Czechs in their opener. Latvia lost 4-2 to the Czechs in their last game. The Latvians play Switzerland next, then close out against Germany, Austria, and France. So that's where the points are there to be gained for the Latvians. 2 groups of 8 teams. The top 4 in each group advance to the quarterfinals. The bottom team in each group is relegated. There's no relegation round, no playoffs. If you're 8th in your group, you're not in the World Championship next year.
And so while, if you just look at the standings and you see Latvia with 0 points, and you would be concerned for their prospects. The games that are winnable for them are coming up on the schedule.
Moeller, for Sjogren, who tapped that wide.
They're done with the tough ones.
That's about as bad as your schedule could get. Now, the schedule is weighted. Is that
Sjogren? It's really heavy early.
Yes. So based on your finish the year before, Latvia was 11th last year, so Latvia gets the top-ranked teams early. And the top-ranked teams, as a rule, get the lesser teams later.
So if you're going to come out of this 0-3, which was going to be the likely scenario for Latvia, the one thing that you want to hope for is health. That your team is healthy going into those last 4 games for themselves. And we've seen the teams. They're going to hang with those teams. They're going to win a game. Absolutely.
Latvia's in the top group of the World Championship for the 19th consecutive year. There's been a couple of times when they were perilously close to relegation.
The one that's the biggest surprise after seeing the teams is Germany sitting with a win.
Right. Beat France 2-1 late.
France has no wins in their 2 games.
Lander plays it across. Masalskis couldn't glove it as Forsberg almost got a stick on that. Now Forsberg back with it. Germany scored late on the power play to win that game 2-1 for a regulation win worth 3 points here. Overtime and shootout wins are worth 2, and they have a major difference. Don't forget, Sweden won its first game in a shootout against the Czechs, so that's 2 points instead of 3.
Austria won their game, the late tying goal. And
Switzerland,
and then they get 2 points for their win, so they sit 1 behind Germany as it stands, although the Swiss got 3 yesterday as they beat the French.
Victor Rask walks it out, and his poke check there by Rodrigo Eballs for Latvia. Jimmy Eriksson spins and shoots and dribbles down to Masalskis. He pokes that away. 6 p.m. local time here in Prague. We say good evening from the Czech capital. Still to come tonight, Canada against the Czech Republic. And we just walked through the concourse, and we can tell you that Czech fans are almost ready. Another hour or so, they should be just perfectly done.
Yeah, they're warming up right now.
In full voice, got their drumming elbows loosened up.
Get their tipping arms going, too. The only one difference here that for the crowd, it's not a weekend.
Yeah.
As the opening weekend was just, and it was a holiday weekend. It was pretty wild.
Berezins plays it back for Sirikov. And for those Star Wars fans, May the 4th be with you. Walked in, a chance there for Moeller, turned away by Masalskis. Oscar Moeller played a couple of years for Chilliwack in the Western Hockey League. Had some brief time with the LA Kings, as we see Louis Eriksson with his hat trick tonight, +1.
3.5 goals for Eriksson tonight. Here's the first one. It's on the power play. It banks off of Cebulski's skate. This is one in the second period. A rebound. That's the one disallowed. That would have been the hat trick. This is the hat trick. Beautiful shot from Anilov, tipped in by Louis Eriksson. So Eriksson, who was had a long string of success here at the World Championships, has 3 more goals. 2 assists against Austria the other day. 3 assists, or 3 goals rather, so far this afternoon. Now the evening.
Anilov brings it in now for the Swedes. They'll play Canada on Wednesday. So day off for both of these clubs. Ekman-Larsson, a long shot that ramps off the stick of Dogovic in behind the goal. And as Zaric took down Louis Eriksson, he knew, and the penalty's coming, and off he goes.
Well, Eriksson sticks in 2 pieces. He's got half of it in his left hand, half of it in his right hand, and tough to dispute the evidence.
It is, except these sticks break easier.
Okay, so we're going to watch the penalty, and it's the back official that calls it, and that's a pretty good job. And the back official has a good look at it. But you're right, I mean, that, 20 years ago, that stick's not going to break. It's made out of wood.
And you taught guys to do that, neutralize a guy's stick. Well, not
there's very little that's, quite honestly, there's very little the same taught today that it was taught when I broke into the NHL. I mean, the first thing you used to learn when a guy went to hit you, get your stick up. Well, that's cross-checking penalty. And then when somebody dumped the puck in the zone, you'd hear, get in front of him. That's an interference penalty.
Hold him up.
We practiced that. You were talking about practicing changing. We would practice holding up players on the forecheck. We were committing a penalty for the entire practice.
Joachim Lindstrom looks his way in, walks in, and oh, he tapped it wide. What a move by Joachim Lindstrom, just missed by inches. And now Lindstrom back with it. We'll see a very good power play when the Czechs play Canada. As Klingberg shoots, Masalska saved, picked out, Ekman-Larsson rebound, score. And it's Victor, or Oscar Moeller rather, who taps it home on the deflection, and it's 5-1 Sweden.
It's 3 power play goals for the Swedes. Moeller gets his first of the tournament. Talked earlier about the nice job he does on the penalty kill for the Swedes. Zaric sitting in the penalty box, not very happy. Good puck movement. Lindstrom, who had made a wonderful rush and broke through the crowd, just missed earlier, starts the play. That's Ekman-Larsson, the defenseman, that's in on the rebound here. Look at him fishing around for the loose puck behind Louis Eriksson, and Oscar Moeller slides it into the open net. And the Swedes, 3 power play goals, a penalty shot goal, and a 5-1 lead.
Hjalmarsson races to it now for Sweden. Rask taps it back in the corner. And Sabolskis for Bukarts. Out to center ice for Byaruns. And Byaruns drops it back. Abols with a chance, couldn't get a shot away. And Hjalmarsson has it back now. At center ice, Abols picks it back up for Latvia. The bulk of these Latvian players play for Riga in the KHL. There are a lot of questions swirling around this competition about just how many teams will return to the KHL next year, as that league and that country are facing major financial difficulties. Another penalty coming, and Sutniks falls in the corner, and Skortskovs will go off for the Latvians.
They got caught standing still, and all of a sudden the error is out of the Latvian team. That late goal in the second period, Louis Eriksson's hat-trick goal, taking the air out of them. There's the trip as the Swedes go back to the power play moments after Oscar Moeller's power play goal.
And the face-off, one back to Kronwall. Stefan Kronwall drops it off to Forsberg. Louis Eriksson standing in front. The puck is loose. Lander batting for it. And Masalska's gloves down. A late whack there. Taken by the Swedes. Matthias Ekholm. That drew some attention.
A lot of discussion around the front of the net, but the officials get things cleaned up, and The faceoff will go to the left of Edgars Masalskis, who's now given up 15 goals and played quite well at times.
Irvin Mustakovs got the start against Canada, allowed 5 goals and 18 shots, was pulled late in the second of that game. You mentioned that Masalskis came in, allowed 1 goal. That was to Sidney Crosby on a penalty shot late in the third period. He gave up 4 on 35 to the Czechs in that 4-2 loss. Staffan Kronwall across to Mattias Ekholm. Kronwall back with it to Ekholm, winds and shoots, and Masalskis through the screen of Louis Eriksson made the stop. Remember, Eriksson's got a chance to tie the modern-day World Championship record for 4 goals in a game.
We've been on the cliff of that thing 3 times now in the last day.
So 3 players we've seen is now Darzic comes busting in. Darzic in a backhand shot, stopped by Enroth. And Darzic had Philip Forsberg all over him, and now a penalty coming. It'll go against the Swedes. It'll be Kronwall for a cross check, so Latvia will get a power play, or will get a power play in 1 minute and 10 seconds once the Latvian penalty expires.
Darzic has the goal. He's had a shorthanded 2-on-1 chance, and here he jumps on the loose puck. Good play by Forsberg to deny him a really good chance. There's the cross-check penalty by Kronwall. That's on Zarnic on the sideboards. But number 10, Loris Zarnic, has been a dangerous player, one of the members of that top line. He had an assist in each of the first 2 games. He's got a goal this afternoon.
Staffan Kronwall, the brother of Nick Kronwall, the Detroit Red Wings. Off, and it's 4-on-4 for 1 minute 6, barring any more penalties. Dagovich tries to dig for it in the corner. And it squirts free to Ekman-Larsson. Some room now for Oliver Ekman-Larsson to roam. Yerofeyev's got a stick on him. And now Lindholm can't play it in. Darzic works in, tries to pull that around Ekman-Larsson, who just buried him. Now the puck goes behind the goal. Christianis Redlis trying to center it, and that was poke checked by Jonas Enroth. Dagovich in the corner with it. 25 seconds to go in the Latvian penalty. And then a brief power play. Yerofeyev's with a shot, and that's stopped by Enroth. And Darzic back on it. Centers it. Skortskov spins and shoots. That floats high and wide. Lindholm plays it back down to Klingberg. And now the Latvian penalty is over. Now they'll get a power play for 50 seconds. But shorthanded. Here comes Oscar Moeller across the line. Moeller shoots in this far side. Rahimi comes off the bench and plays it ahead for the Swedes. And once again, the Latvians are bottled up with their power play. As you talked about, Ray, it's been disheartening, their man advantage. It's produced so little. They do have the 1 goal, but for the most part, it's just been stagnant.
If they don't have that one line on the ice with Zarnic and Dagovich, really nothing happens for them offensively, certainly on the power play. And
Jonas Redlis goes after it, and the puck was played with a high stick. We're going to face off in the Swedish zone. 4 seconds left on this power play.
So the Swedes will try to run this out, use the full bench, and they'll have a day off tomorrow after back-to-back games against Austria and Latvia, and then in the late game, they'll play Canada the next day.
Never a dull moment in those games at any level.
The players like them too. I mean, you want to be challenged. You know there's going to be some games that you can pretty well run the roost in. So the game tonight for Canada, that'll be fun. The guys want to play that. They want to be challenged.
Now Ekholm fires it down to the Latvian zone. Loose in the corner. Forsberg trying to center it. Eriksson was parked in front again. There's Forsberg with it. To Lander. Anton Lander. Spins across the top. Holds it. Finds Ekman-Larsson. Oliver Ekman-Larsson shoots. Masalskis made the save going the other way. It drops down. That's cleared away. Now Lander back with it. Forsberg lost it. And Michaelis Redless to Yannick Sprooks. That pass in behind Redless, and Ekman-Larsson quickly back the other way, but Sprooks stepped into him. Forsberg with Eriksson trying to tighten up the line, but the play was offside. 5-1, Sweden leads here in the third period. 5-1 the score here for Sweden over Latvia. In Ostrava this afternoon, the United States still leads Russia 2-1. The shots with 8 minutes to go in that game are 16 each. Jakob Josefsson works in from a sharp angle, shoots and scores! Squeezes that by Masalskis. And now some pushing and shoving breaks out as Joel Lundqvist is in there, along with Nicholas Danielsson. But a goal for Sweden to make it 6-1. And that's a rare leaky one on Edgars Masalskis from Jakob Josefsson.
Yeah, that's not something you become accustomed to seeing when you watch Masalskis play. Good play by Josefsson to chip the puck to himself, go chase it down. That's a tight angle, and Masalskis has to have that one.
And Yerofeyevs knocks Danielson into the goaltender. But the puck was already in the net.
Right through his feet, and 6-1 on Josefsson's first of the tournament. 6 goals in 62 games for New Jersey this year.
He was a first-round pick in 2009. As we've used the word traction a lot, but just has not been able to establish himself as an everyday player.
He's kind of bounced around between roles as well, and for a young player, it's really difficult.
Now busting in his Lindholm, a backhand shot. Masalskis make the save, penalty shot. Boy, they're handing out like candy in this tournament.
That's 4, is it not?
On this side,
on this side, yeah. That'll be Elias Lindholm. He scored in the shootout against the Czechs. Just a wonderful wrist shot. He went low blocker. There he gets between the Latvian defense. Gord, that's a couple of times these penalty shots have been awarded right after a goal.
Right.
Within 20 seconds of a goal. The first one was 10 seconds. This one's not much more. And fortunately, Masalskis not injured.
That we know of.
Staying in. This is 44 seconds after the goal and the previous goal, and now Masalskis will face Elias Lindholm from the Carolina Hurricanes.
Lindholm, the 5th overall pick in the 2013 National Hockey League draft.
17 goals this year for Carolina.
And here he comes on Masalskis to make it a 7th spot for Sweden. Lindholm in. No. Pad posted out.
Really good move by Lindholm. He goes to the backhand, just not quite high enough over the pad of Masalskis. Masalskis goes back and, oh, he gets the blocker on it. Up in the air, maybe a little bit of the pipe. Nothing for Lindholm.
Mark Arcapello has scored for the U.S. Meantime, 3-1. They lead the Russians late in the third period in Ostrava. Ekholm, a long drawn to his off a leg and wide. A very young American team. Elias Lindholm with it. Lindholm works it back to Ekholm. So while a lot of countries have had a bumper crop of players wanting to play in this tournament, the United States had a hard time getting some guys, but their young guys are stepping up so far.
I've never really understood that. You know, even back to when I was playing in the tournament, there's always been a less enthusiasm, I'll say, from the American players to come and play at the World Tournament.
9.5 to go in the third period. This is just the appetizer as Brooks drops it back to Michaelis Redless. Redless works around. A backhand shot goes high and wide. Still to come, Canada and the Czech Republic. And the marquee matchup for the home side in this first round. Czech-Sweden is pretty good, but fans here, hockey fans, very knowledgeable with the National Hockey League. They watch a lot of games here.
and they want to watch Sidney Crosby. We've seen various Crosby jerseys, the black and gold, the blue and white, the Canadian jersey. Lots of people excited when Crosby decided to play in the tournament.
After a Canadian practice a couple of days ago, a giant throng of Czech journalists gathered, and when the Canadian PR staff announced that Crosby, who had spoken the first 3 days, wasn't coming out, they all slumped and left. There's a quick shot taken by Abols, turned away by Enroth. Sjogren drops it back for Lynch from the centering pass, knocked down by Abols. Away he goes to Byeruns. Lowers Byeruns, trying to get around Oliver Ekman-Larsson. So Ekman-Larsson careful not to take an interference penalty there. And now Kronwall picks up the loose puck for Moeller. Stefan Kronwall drops for Lynch from a long shot, and that's gloved by Masalskis. He'll hang on.
There's that collision after the goal that made it 6-1, and then Lindholm crashes in just prior to the penalty shot. So a rough couple of moments for Masalskis. And 15,315 is the attendance this afternoon. And I believe it's 17,333.
Something like that, yeah.
For the capacity of this building.
It'll be about 17-8 tonight for the Canada game. Fire marshal's away for the weekend.
Or he's got a really good ticket.
Or he's in a closet somewhere. Here's Forsberg trying to move it around, goes between his feet. Eriksson parked in front. And Lander had that knocked away, back up the center ice to Kronwall. NHL games need drums. I've decided that.
Maybe you can talk to the marketing department. You seem to know people, and you can maybe get drums passed out.
I've got my top people working on it, trust me. Look for it any decade now. Eriksson brings it in. The amazing scene was when Canada was beating Germany 10-0 with 2 minutes to go in a 10-0 game. The German fans were up chanting, clapping, and singing. There's Dogovic with a centering pass. It's tipped on goal by Zerich, and the save made by Enroth. 6:59 to go here in period number 3. Sweden up by 5. Sweden with the lead on Latvia here with under 7 to go in the third period in Ostrava. Under 3 minutes to go, Russia has scored, now within 3-2 on the U.S. Joel Lundqvist pokes it in for Hjalmarsson. Back for Danielson, a shot that goes off a leg. So if you had Jimmy Eriksson on the line with Hjalmarsson and Lundqvist, you know, and 3 guys whose brothers play in the NHL.
Been working on that?
It just occurred to me. Could have been a trivia question. We're almost in that territory.
We're getting close to it.
It's got to be at least a 6-goal lead. That's, you can't make a mockery of the thing.
Is that a new rule?
It's in the IIHF rulebook.
Page
11. Ekman-Larsson with a shot that goes off Masalskis.
That hit Masalskis in the mask, and so the whistle blows quickly.
Now, previously, Ray, it used to be automatic, and they've loosened that interpretation that just because the puck strikes the goaltender's mask, it's not an automatic stoppage anymore.
Well, a lot of rules were implemented quite some time ago. I would say that you see Masalskis puts his hand up because the mask is broken. Oh, pretty good cross check by Oscar Moeller in front of the net. But when the rule was first put in, I would say the masks were nowhere near as protective as they are now. And so when a guy got hit in the head, they probably worried for his safety.
One thing that needs to be understood about IIHF rules is there are many games that are played, and not necessarily here at the World Championship, but at lower levels that are real mismatches. And so protection of players who might be in danger at lower levels is important as well.
And really should be. I mean, you have to defend the whole tournament. You can't just think about the top 6 or 8 teams. And you know what? They get a lot of rules right.
And they got them right before the NHL did. Took the red line out before the NHL. They were on obstruction way before the NHL and stayed with it. As Bukarts brings it in. You can argue about whether they're hitting to the head penalties too extreme, but certainly they were more cognizant of the damage done by head hits than the National Hockey League was in other North American leagues earlier. There's Lander with a shot that goes wide. You've liked their crease rule.
Nothing's ever going to be perfect. There are games that you're not happy with the penalties that are called, or there's not enough penalties that are called. Officiating's always a flashpoint. In any sport.
The one thing you would say, I think, about IIHF officiating is it's
better than it used to be by miles.
And more consistent. A penalty in the first period is a penalty in the third.
We were coming over here, I can't even imagine what it was like in the 60s. But when we were coming over here in the early 80s, it was an absolute crapshoot what you were going to get. Actually, we had a pretty good idea what we were going to get, and it just wasn't very good.
We'll get nothing and like it. There's Christianis Redlist back for it. Up for Loris Darzic. So at first blush, Latvia's off to a bad start in this tournament, but Latvia's faced the iron of this group. You got the Czechs, Canada, and Sweden out of the way. Togovic centers it. That bounced away from Zaric, who shoots, and Henroth makes the stop.
And Gord, we talked off the top that the Latvians will work, and they continue to work. They're just outmanned here. And the real meat of their tournament is going to come up shortly here. This deflection by Zvorkovs just goes wide of Jonas Henroth, who has played very well, made some really good saves, difficult saves today for the Swedes.
4:02 to go in the third period. The face-off. One back to Yerofeyev. Center's attempt right on goal by Darzic and stopped in tight by Enroth. Darzic is 30 years old, playing in his 8th World Championship. Has also played in 2 Olympics for the Latvians. High points for Latvian hockey at the junior level, 2009 in Ottawa when Latvia avoided relegation. Stayed in for Saskatoon 2010. The junior tournament's a tough one for Latvia. Not nearly enough under 20 players to put together a strong roster. And no real junior program in their country. Jostin, a long shot, that's tipped. As Hjalmarsson got a stick on that, and it goes up and out of play.
So much challenge financially for countries to put together an effective junior program at times. There's Zarnic, who's had probably 4 really good chances, scored a power play goal on Enroth, but has been their most dangerous forward in this game.
The other problem for countries like Latvia is that they really put their stock in the Russian Junior League, the MHL,
and now there's real questions, right?
Well, that'll continue. So Ekman-Larsson works in the Swedes, for example, 10, 12 years ago, really built up their junior program. They have a Swedish junior league now where players from the Swedish league clubs play at a lower level for juniors only, so their young guys get a chance to play against their peer group instead of rotting on the bench. There's a chance in front. Score! What a tip by Joel Lundqvist. And that's 7-1 Sweden.
Really good cycle, and Joel Lundqvist, who scored the first goal of the tournament for the Swedes, gets his second of the tournament. Nice pass out of the corner. And Lundqvist, who has an assist as well today, is the recipient of Hjalmarsson's pass. He steps inside of Michaelis Redlich, and after Oliver Ekman-Larsson had pinched down to keep the play alive, Hjalmarsson's pass is right on the tape, and it's 7-1. There's Lundqvist getting to the front of the net inside of Redlich. The former Dallas Stars prospect scores his second of the tournament.
Yeah, Lundqvist spent most of 3 years with Dallas. comes Lindstrom now. His long shot floats high over the glass and out with 2:43 to go. Joel Lundqvist has become a mainstay of the Swedish national team. 6th time at the World Championship and 2-time gold medalist.
Nice play there, strong, good on the draws. His foot speed was always a little bit of a limitation for him. And there's the one-time touch into the net.
The smile runs in the family. Two of the nicest people. I mean, you hate to generalize about a country because most Swedes are very nice people, but the Lundqvist brothers, in the middle of the playoffs last year, Henrik was asking us for World Championship updates. So excited for his brother and talking about how huge the event is for Swedes and how his brother is so admired his home country for his long-time service with the national team. Oscar Moeller sends that rink wide. With just over 2 to go, are we going to see another 2-period hat trick bid fall short? We've seen Forsberg, Hall, and now Lundqvist all scored 3 times in the first 2 periods. Trying to get that 4th one has proven to be problematic. The U.S. has scored into an empty net. 4-2, the lead there late in Ostrava. Kobe Jas now has had limited ice time for the Latvians today, had that knocked away. Eriksson is back on the ice for the Swedes with 1:40 to go. And Mark Arcobello with an empty net goal there. He's got 2 in the 3rd period against the Russians.
He had a good year this year. Whoa. A couple of the Latvians bumped together. But Arcobello bounced around a little bit, put on waivers in Edmonton, went to Pittsburgh, ended up in Arizona. Ended up being a pretty productive player. Got some opportunity to play. And has some good hand skills.
This tournament reign over the years has been a real launching pad for some players who are trying to get themselves reestablished or established. Think of Seth Jones and the year he had at the World Championship last year playing for Team USA. He was named the top D in the tournament playing for Peter Laviolette.
And then, Laviolette ends up as his coach in Nashville.
Right.
Jones just a terrific young player. So the Predators with Jones and Forsberg and Ekholm at this tournament and a free agent signing, an interesting case. Steve Moses, a little guy who led the KHL in scoring. They signed him to a 1-year deal as well. So they got at least 4 players of real good skill at this tournament.
Lander plays it back for Ekholm inside a minute to go in the 3rd period. Eriksson still out there, bouncing puck in front. Eriksson reaching for it, couldn't get to it. And the Latvians still drumming. Eriksson drops it back. Lander missed that pass, and it finally comes out. Indrasis had it taken away. Here comes Eriksson with a chance. Louis Eriksson in, shoots, and looked like something's got a stick on him, knocked that just wide. Eriksson's been out there for about the last 2 minutes trying to get that 4th one. And now the play called offside with 19.7 seconds remaining.
Now they just put the final U.S.-Russia score up on the board. Eriksson finally gets to go sit down.
Czech fans are standing at the announcement of that. Anilov works his way in. Dying second of the period, Anilov feeds it back, and the shot taken by Lindholm. Rebound, score! Jimmy Eriksson got pulled over in front. It looked like Victor Rask got the last touch, and it's 8-1 Sweden. Oh my, you need a pair of those pants.
Oh yeah.
You have a pair, don't you?
The Swedes pile it on right to the end. And Victor Rask is going to take this rebound to the right of Masalskis. And Lindholm, who missed the penalty shot earlier, delivered the initial shot. Jimmy Eriksson creating havoc in front of the net. And it's 8-1.
And the final seconds tick away. And so Sweden now has has 3 wins, 2 in regulation, for a total of 8 points. Next up, the Swedes will play Canada in a crucial game on Wednesday. Latvia has finished with a tough portion of the tournament. Now faces Switzerland next on Wednesday here in Prague.
The 2015